Document, don't create, build in public. Let me ask you something. Be honest with yourself. How many ideas have you had that never saw the light of day? How many projects died in your head before they were ever born in the real world? How many times did you tell yourself, it's not ready yet? I need more clarity. I'll start once it's perfect. See, perfection has stolen more dreams than failure ever could. Today, I want to challenge a belief that's quietly holding you back. I want to shatter the myth that you need to create something extraordinary before you show up, because the truth is this: you don't need to create more. You need to document better, and you need to build out loud. We live in a world obsessed with polished outcomes. Finished products, flawless launches, viral success stories that skip the messy middle. But what people don't tell you is that every overnight success you admire was built in public step by step, mistake by mistake, moment by moment. The most powerful shift you can make today is this: stop trying to be impressive. Start trying to be real. When you document instead of create, you remove pressure. You stop playing God and start playing human. You stop pretending you have all the answers and start inviting people into the journey. And here's the magic: people don't connect with perfection. They connect with progress. Think about it. When do you feel most inspired by someone? When they tell you, I've got it all figured out? Or when they say, I'm learning this as I go, come with me. We trust the second person. We follow the second person. We root for the second person because they feel like us. Documenting is not about ego, it's about evidence. Evidence that you're showing up, evidence that you're doing the work, evidence that growth is happening even when the results aren't loud yet. You don't need a masterpiece, you need a trail that says, I was here, I tried, I learned, I adjusted, I moved forward. That trail becomes your brand. That trail becomes your credibility. That trail becomes your legacy. Here's what most people get wrong about building in public. They think it means oversharing. They think it means exposing everything. They think it means having no boundaries. No, building in public means sharing the process, not your privacy. It means letting people see the work, not your wounds. You don't need to bleed for attention. You need to lead with intention. When you document your journey, 3 powerful things happen. First, you gain clarity. When you explain what you're learning, you understand it better. When you share your thinking sharpens. When you teach, you master. Second, you attract the right people. Not everyone will like your process. Good, not everyone will agree with your approach. Perfect, that's how alignment works. Your people find you because your journey resonates with theirs. And third, you build momentum. Every post, every update, every lesson shared becomes a brick. One brick doesn't look like much. But over time, you look back, and there's a structure standing where doubt used to live. Let me say this clearly: you are already interesting enough. Your struggles are not weaknesses, they're context. Your learning curve is not embarrassing, it's proof of effort. Your unfinished work is not a flaw, it's an invitation. People don't need you to be 10 steps ahead. They need you to be 1 step ahead, and honest about it. Stop waiting to become qualified. You don't need permission to share what you're learning. You don't need validation to speak from experience. You don't need credentials to be consistent. You need courage. And courage doesn't roar. Courage whispers. Post it anyway. Building in public also does something deeper, something most people don't expect. It builds self-trust. When you show up consistently, even when no one's watching, you prove something to yourself. You prove that you're not just a thinker, you're a doer. Every documented step becomes a promise kept. Every shared lesson becomes a vote of confidence in who you're becoming, and confidence isn't built by hype. It's built by evidence. Here's a hard truth: if you're always waiting to feel ready, you'll always feel behind. Readiness comes after action, not before it. The people you admire didn't wait for confidence. They built confidence by showing up scared. They documented the chaos, they shared the questions, they let their audience grow with them. Let me flip the script for you. What if your audience isn't waiting for your success? What if they're waiting for your story in progress? What if the very thing you think disqualifies you is the thing that qualifies you, your early drafts? Your awkward attempts, your imperfect execution, that's not noise, that's narrative, and here's the biggest mindset shift of all: you are not late. You are right on time to start documenting. You don't need to go back and recreate the past. You don't need to pretend you started earlier. Start where you are, use what you have, share what you're learning today. Consistency beats intensity every single time. Building in public also creates accountability. When you say, "This is what I'm working on," you're more likely to finish it. When you share your goals, you raise your standards. When people witness your effort, quitting gets harder and growth gets easier. This isn't pressure, it's purpose. Let me be clear about something else. Building in public does not mean chasing likes. It means building trust. Likes fade, trust compounds. People may scroll past one post, but they remember patterns. They remember who showed up. They remember who stayed honest. They remember who didn't disappear when things got uncomfortable. You don't need viral moments. You need visible momentum. And momentum is created by documenting the small wins, the lessons learned, the pivots made, the mindset shifts that happen behind the scenes. This is how movements start. This is how brands are built. This is how leaders emerge. So let me ask you again, this time differently. What if your job isn't to impress the world, but to invite it into your process? What if instead of hiding until you're perfect, you let progress speak for itself? What if the content you're struggling to create already exists in your daily work, your thoughts, your lessons, your growth? Because it does, you just haven't documented it yet. Here's your permission slip. Post the draft, share the lesson. Talk about the struggle, celebrate the small win, explain what you're learning, not tomorrow, not when it's perfect. Today, document, don't create. Build in public not for applause, but for alignment, not for attention, but for impact. Not to be seen as an expert, but to become one through action. The world doesn't need another polished persona. It needs real people doing real work, out loud, and that person, that can be you. Start documenting. Start building, start now.